Usually the parking lot here at Brian Bemis Toyota in DeKalb is busy with people buying and selling cars, but that's not the case as officers are investigating an officer-involved situation this afternoon. I talked with the DeKalb Police Department Patrol Commander Chad McNett, and here's what we do know at this time. I am near Hosmer Apartments where police say a person fired a gun earlier this afternoon to keep everyone safe. The building of the apartment and nearby homes were evacuated, and we are also told at least 3 side streets here off of Galena Avenue were also closed too for the time being. Van Laar says these dry conditions make it difficult to irrigate everything all at once, so he says every day they are irrigating more and more blocks of these apple trees. The boost has even made its way to Rockford as all 4 of the Park District's golf courses have seen an uptick in rounds played. At Sinisippi, that has gone up 20%. The booming Rockford housing market has had a history of a high demand for homes and low inventory of them. Though realtor Brian Chandler says that this low interest rate could be a good thing for an inventory spike.
We don't usually have this kind of stuff around here.
Barricades cover the 2 entrances at Brian Bemis Toyota in DeKalb Wednesday afternoon, while police look into why a disorderly man caused damage to the property and stabbed an employee. This worker was treated on scene for a non-life-threatening injury.
I called him and my brother and asked him, and she said she was on lunch.
Harold Drake was in the area when he found out about the stabbing. He is relieved to know his sister-in-law, who works at the dealership and was on break, is okay, but is sad to see this as a norm. In an unrelated incident earlier in the day, a DeKalb County deputy shot and killed a suspect who was holding someone hostage.
We've had 2 things in a row pop up, and it makes you wonder. I'm used to everything is calm, cool, and everything is going smoothly.
Police tried to get the suspect at Brian Bemis to drop the knife. When he refused and walked toward them, officers shot the man.
We're not going to describe the use of force by our officers at this time.
He was flown to a Rockford hospital for care. He is in stable condition and should survive. DeKalb Police Patrol Commander Chad McNett credits the community for assisting in piecing together the investigation.
The fact that 2 incidents happened in the same day that of relatively high importance is obviously rare, but I certainly would not attribute it to any sort of crime epidemic.
It was really interesting just to see how all the different components come together.
It's an active scene in and outside of Cherryville Mall Sunday evening, though it's nothing to be alarmed about. It's an active shooter training exercise with local law enforcement and EMS personnel.
We work together every single day, but not hand in hand. We're really going to have to work together in these situations so that we can get victims and patients out of harm's way while the scene may still be active.
Participants treated Sunday's training like it was a real-life situation, establishing a perimeter, finding the suspect, and most importantly, keeping victims safe. The biggest focus Sunday was on communication between the different parties and the rescue task force between police and fire to look for victims.
Things like this happen across the country and across the world pretty much every day now. So just knowing that there's different pillars of the community that are working on making sure we stay safe as best as possible.
Amon Chalisa volunteered Sunday playing the part of a victim who was shot. He didn't realize how many people are involved when something like this happens, though his confidence of staying safe in such an instance has increased.
You just have to be prepared for the unexpected. When I got to Mercy, none of them knew what exactly was going on, so it was a shock to them. And in an incident like this, it would be a shock to anyone.
Knowing that we are here, we're as prepared as we possibly can be, at least in the moment. And then how do we keep driving this forward? And if we do, everybody's going to be in better shape.
We'll all remember where we were when it happened.
A powerful day at Guilford High School Swanson Stadium for the 3rd annual 9/11 Hero Climb. A record of more than 200 people either climbed up and down the steep steps or walked 8 laps around the track, which is an addition this year.
3, 2, 1.
Not ready to give out, but I just kept going. I kept looking at my lanyard. And it just kept reminding me what they did, so I kept pushing.
Each lanyard recognizes a life lost in the attack. Some firefighters even climbed up and down the stairs with their full gear on.
Here we could take a break, but your mind just keeps coming back to that they couldn't.
Just kept thinking of Tommy. He was going up those stairs thinking of other people, thought of him, and if he could do it, I could at least try.
Walker says the task is daunting, though it's inspiring to be a part of.
If he can't do it or somebody takes a break, somebody tells him you could do this.
Proceeds benefit the Greg Lindmark Foundation, supporting local first responders through confidential counseling.
These people that have that in their heart are here living amongst us in the community that honor and value the things that are done for us on a daily basis.
We want to keep them healthy, and we want them to continue working to support and protect all of us.
You can't beat it. Every golfer would probably agree and say that they're going to enjoy as much of this weather as we can.
It's been in October unlike any other at Prairie View Golf Club in Byron. As of Tuesday afternoon, the course has booked almost 50 rounds more than they did in all of October 2023.
I picked a weekday thinking that, I'd be okay, and it was pretty packed out here.
We're on pace to eclipse 3,000 rounds, which has only been done once in our history.
General Manager Scott DeOliveira is optimistic they can reach that number. With the warmer weather, they are maintaining the grass more and keeping their food and drinks ready, which usually drops off in October.
Even as a golfer myself, this far in, if I can get a round in here or there this time of year, that's a big bonus for everyone.
I wouldn't be opposed to having some 60-degree days in December if anybody wants to open up.
The boost has even made its way to Rockford, as all 4 of the Park District's golf courses have seen an uptick in rounds played. At Sinisippi, that has gone up 20%.
Oh, okay, that's good. You never know what the weather's going to do here, but we definitely appreciated having the extra rounds.
Bloomfield says they've seen more rounds played after work and on the weekends.
This year we've seen definitely an uptick in new golfers, even from the pandemic.
Benefits of a dry fall, and there's also some very, very big challenges.
Jonathan Van Laar planted thousands of apple trees this season. He says the wet and muddy spring made it easy to harvest in the dry fall, but there is a price to pay.
We're trying our best to keep these trees healthy going into the fall and into the winter months, so they come back out in the springtime ready to go for the following year.
In an ideal world, Van Laar says rain would help the trees, but for the time being, he must resort to drip irrigation.
These blocks are staying on for 8 hours, and then we're going to a new zone. And that's giving them enough water right now to keep them growing.
Van Laar says these dry conditions make it difficult to irrigate everything all at once, so he says every day they are irrigating more and more blocks of these apple trees.
The dry conditions also raise our fire risk, which keeps Van Laar alert, always.
Keeping eyes on our equipment, making sure that we're not the ones starting a potential fire.
A lot of times they'll put out a red flag warning, which kind of warns the public not to burn. With the lack of rainfall.
Harlem Roscoe Fire Chief John Bergeron urges people not to burn leaves this time of year because the wind could turn a small fire into a big one.
Fires grow rapidly, so if you think you can put it out by yourself, times it just doesn't happen and it gets out of hand.
Virgil is sort of like an inspiration.
It's like a great tribute to him.
More than 50 student artworks honor Virgil Abloh in an exhibit at his alma mater, Boylan Catholic High School.
He's a great inspiration for all students, especially art students, because he kind of represents like how much we can do and how much we can accomplish.
Students learned about the fashion icon to start the school year and created a piece inspired by his life. One depicted his love for skateboarding, another shows a portrait of Virgil with LV in the background.
People know it as like Louis Vuitton if you know about the fashion world, but to his parents, it means Love Virgil because it was the balloon that flew over his last show.
In 2018, Virgil was the first African American to be artistic director at a French luxury fashion house with men's ready-to-wear at Louis Vuitton. He also created his own brand called Off-White.
Virgil likes to motivate the young ones to be better than what they are and do not dwell on the past. If you fail one, that shouldn't say your destiny.
Also included in the exhibit are photos and memorabilia from his time at Boylan, including his visit with students to the Nike Imagination Lab and memories as a Titan soccer player.
He's thought about often. He's definitely somebody that's a hero from this area.